I got a new journal. And I want to talk about it because this is not something that I would usually get. And I feel like it's special enough to talk about. Is it? I don't know. We'll see once I just go through all this. So, I've been journaling for years. We don't have to go into all that, but it's been at least 10. And last year, I usually use a regular moleskin journal. It's ruled most of the time when I was using them. So, this pages looks like your typical journal. So, eventually, and by that I mean last year, I decided I wanted to do a plain journal. So I've got these editions of the moleskin journal, which are plain. Can't really show you the plain part. I filled up this whole book, both of them, in 1 year. So 6 months. 6 months. 6 months. It took me to fill up both of these books. So I decided, you know what? I like having more space, and I love having an unrolled journal. I think it's more so about not having to limit where I write or how I write, and just having the complete freedom. We love that, to just write however I want and what I feel and how big I want to write or how small or whatever orientation I feel like using that day, and just go with that. So on my quest to find a new journal for this new calendar year, I considered only two features that I really wanted to have. So I wanted more space, and I wanted the journal to be plain, like unruled, no lines anywhere. And I did a little bit of research, and I didn't find that many journals that kind of fit into that kind of parameters. Words are so hard, I don't know, but I didn't find anything that I really felt drawn to aside from this journal. And this is what we have. It's an A4 size journal. Now, to give you a bit of perspective, this is a regular large notebook size for moleskin. This is an A4 size notebook that I just got for this year. And to even give you a little bit more perspective on this book, I don't know if you're familiar with the brand Taschen, but they have these art books or coffee table books, or just books such as this one by James Baldwin called The Fire Next Time. So their books are pretty large. Then we have this notebook. So you can kind of see it's not that far off compared to the regular size. So yeah, and then I'll compare it to the moleskin journal, and alright, as you can see, it's slightly bigger. So that's not news when you're comparing different paper sizes. But yeah, let's talk about it, because it's 2.4 pounds, 300, well, let me first say 2.4 for the Americans, 1.1 kilograms for the other nations of this planet. So it's also 100 GSM, or grams per square meter. So the pages are pretty thick, which is something else that I did not know that I really valued until I started using Moleskine, which is also 100 GSM. And that means that the pages are thick enough to carry a lot more ink. Therefore, I could draw and or write however many times I want on the page, and it doesn't necessarily bleed to the other side, or at least not noticeably. I use a Pilot G2 0.38 gang. I mean, sometimes I use 0.5. I still love the 0.38 though. So I didn't realize until I started using a plain journal that I enjoyed drawing on my journals, and it kind of helps me kind of process things sometimes. So now that I've experienced having a thicker paper, I'm like, okay, that's something that I value, and I didn't know that until I actually started using a different style journal. So it's 320 pages, so 160 sheets, and yeah, she's thick, like real thick to the point where I probably wouldn't take this with me while I'm traveling. It'll probably just hang out on a desk, and I'll use it whenever I get to it. Lately, I've been using it quite often, you know, as often as I would use my other journals. I think for it to be a soft cover like this, I think that does help with the weight. Not that much because it's still very heavy. I think the soft cover makes it a little bit more difficult to write on pages so early in the journal, because obviously this part is going to be a lot more sturdy than this part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start writing on this side of the page and only write on this side, finish this page, go to the next page. And then when I get to a point where I'm comfortable enough, or I get to a point where I feel like I just don't want to keep writing on that side, or I get to a point where I'm completed that side fully, I'll just flip it over and just start writing on the other side, you know, be like upside down, or however a way I write. Sometimes I do it horizontally too. I really do like the size. I think it's a very good value. It's a lot cheap. This journal is a lot cheaper than the previous journals. But another thing that I realized that I did not take into consideration when it came to me looking for another journal is the color of the pages. So Moleskine uses an ivory colored stained page, and this journal that I have now is not necessarily stained enough for my preferences. I think it's a little too close to copier paper color white. So I find it to be a lot brighter, and honestly, something like that kind of I don't want to say it affects me, but it definitely plays a role in how I feel when I'm journaling. So that's something to keep in mind when I look for another journal in the future. But that's not to say that I won't use it. I think this journal is definitely going to get used a lot this year. I find myself also writing to the end of the pages, which is something that I usually don't do so easily. So maybe it's the sign of the times. I mean, I don't really know. We just going with it. But that's something that I noticed when using such a larger sized paper. Also, one thing that I did kind of miss, I didn't realize I missed it until I got another journal, is the fact that it has like no strap on the book. I know a lot of them do, but for an an A4 size paper notebook, I didn't really see too many that had a strap with it, or even in that size paper at all. So in the past, I really didn't like the strap, to be honest, because I felt like it was just a hindrance for me to get to actually writing. I had to unhook it and just do like that. But over the years, I realized, okay, I could put it to use. I could put the pen on the strap and just store it that way. so that I always have my pen with me and I don't have to look for one when I'm ready to journal. And I thought that was just something I could do, but that won't be necessary for this journal. But I do use it for like the journals that I'm still using. And that's just a little tip that you could use if you have a journal with straps. Just keep the pen with it. But yeah, she's thick. She's very thick, and it might not see my backpack. It might not see my backpack. I'm just saying. But I think it's worth the money because you get so much paper for your money. I think that's something worth noting. But man, yeah, I don't think I would carry that around too much because of the weight of it. At the end of the day, it's a very personal preference, and I just wanted to share my discoveries when I re-upped on my journal for this coming calendar year. So I don't know. Hopefully you found that helpful. Oh my goodness, words. Hopefully you found that helpful. And if you're considering getting an A4 journal, just keep all of those things in mind. But yeah. Other than that, I'm happy with it. I think it's definitely an experience to have such a large notebook. Thanks for watching. You know what's crazy? I filmed this video already. I'm always filming at like 2. Like, really. We love that. We love it. I'm not doing this for another hour. I'm not doing this for another hour, bro. Oh, yes. I really need to go to bed. I've been yawning all day, and here I am playing around. But it's like eclipsing it. It's crazy big.